Hi, Steve Cooper, Rank Success, and welcome to this short video. And really this one is about some good news for me. This is the second message I've had from officers in Australia who have used my products, purchased my products. I've also had one in the British Virgin Islands Police. So word's travelling around, and I just wanted to share some insights with you from this feedback because one, I'm really pleased about it. Two, you might be interested in the transferable aspects of it. So I'm just going to read this out. This is from a guy called David. I am a detective sergeant in Australia, and I was looking for support in my promotion aspirations to inspector, and I came across your YouTube channel and podcasts. So that's an interesting point there with my podcast, because I do follow some of the metrics on it, and apparently it's been listened to in 42 countries now, and I have had messages from people saying, I'm sat here halfway around the world listening to your podcasts. Could you speak about this, or could you tell me a little bit more about that? So that's quite interesting, because I'm sat at home here in my conservatory speaking to you now. So it's an interesting aspect of how you can reach a lot further than where you live. I was very impressed, so I purchased your inspector package, as I believe there is transferable knowledge to our processes. So good instincts, obviously listening to the podcasts, officers can recognise the similarities between promotion selection processes. If you've listened to any of my blogs or my podcasts, or so if you've read any of my blogs or listened to any of my podcasts or these videos, you'll know that, you know, I say promotion selection processes are very, very, very similar. It's a case of smoke and mirrors. You've just got to try and align yourself to the process that you're going to face and get match fit for that in time. I'm really looking forward to working through your products and enhancing my potential for success. Well, that's what they're there for. Hopefully you can look at the free podcasts, the free videos like this, the free blogs. There's more free stuff that I offer that you can, more than you can shake a stick at now. So you can get your bearings, get orientated. What is promotion all about? Pick up some insights, some aha moments from that, and choose whether you want to go ahead and download a digital promotion toolkit bespoke to sergeant if you're going for sergeant, or for inspector or chief inspector if you're going for the inspecting ranks. So wherever you are and you're wondering where to start, you can start there, download a toolkit, hit the ground running and get match fit and get ahead of the curve for your promotion selection process. David goes on, I've been searching for similar assistance in Australia, however there's a distinct void. I would estimate that I've been on higher duties, so acting duties or temporary duties I expect here, as inspector and superintendent. So that's quite interesting. That's quite an interesting difference there. I've applied for superintendent 3 times and inspector once. Of note, in 2022, the inspector rank has been implemented more broadly throughout our force and is now offered as an opportunity to all. There were over 350 people applied for this process, 60 were interviewed and 20 been successful. So as you can see, it's a rather competitive process. And that word competition, I've talked about it, I allude about it in other videos. Competition is always the word that people can't really get around. You can't get around the fact that if you've got, in this case, and it's the same for processes here, and it's often lost on people, often overlooked by candidates, if you've got 350 people applying for 20 vacancies, how do you run a fair process with that? And the you know, the point this week has been interviews. So one of the blogs I did this week was the Chief Constable of Devon and Cornwall has waived promotion interview boards for sergeant candidates going through. So they now get to go through to be assessed, temporarily promoted, National Police Promotion Framework Stage 4, so they get work-based assessment, they get the chance to work towards a formal leadership qualification as part of that. And if everybody could do that, that's brilliant, but clearly with that process they had enough people or not enough people to go through, so the decision to put people through is one that's made in the interests of the force, in the interests of communities and those individuals who all step forward into the leadership zone to be considered as leaders, as first line supervisors, benefited from the zeitgeist, if you like, the circumstances in play at the force. all of them expected to face a promotion board and a presentation exercise, and none of them had to because the decision was made. It's far harder to do something like that when, as in this case, you've got 350 people. So in Greater Manchester, West Midlands and the Met, so you will have massive competition, significantly more people wanting to get promoted than vacancies exist, ergo competition. And it's a word that a lot of people don't think about. They don't think about, you know, you can't do much about other people in the process. You can do a whole lot about yourself in terms of competition, getting yourself to the best point you can to be the best version of yourself, and that's what people want to see in a process. But the argument about whether, you know, interviews are a meaningful aspect or element of a promotion selection process is something I'll leave to other people. I just support people to get match fit for the process they face. So in some forces that includes an interview, in some forces it doesn't, but there is always you know, disappointment, frustration, confusion, bemusement, upset, sometimes a bit of anger, where people are unsuccessful on promotion selection processes. And I always encourage you to commit to a depth and breadth of preparation that puts you in a much better position. And as I say, the downloadable toolkits will help you do that, along with some of the other things I cover in my videos or on my promotion masterclasses. So if you are aspiring, you can come on at any of those, or you can download any of those and just hit the ground running. But that aspect of competition is really interesting because it's not unusual to see it, and often people overlook that competitive aspect. And an interview is normally kind of pushed into the process or features somewhere in the process. So 350 applicants, so that was a hell of a sifting process there to get them down to 60 to interview. That must have been a savage, brutal sifting process, and I've alluded to that in my blogs around the brutality of police promotion, so I get that. Unfortunately for me, I didn't get over the first hurdle of the application. And again, for superintendent, I didn't get over the first hurdle. I did request feedback. However, our force is extremely poor at giving quality feedback. This didn't help me at all. And on that as well, I always encourage you to go for feedback. Feedback is a fantastic place to start. So if you've been unsuccessful in a previous promotion selection process and you're disappointed, go for feedback. And what's alluded to here is that the force is extremely poor at giving quality feedback. I don't think all forces are. Some are much better than others, but for others, it's just it's not given the same attention, shall we say, as the actual process itself. So even when people ask for feedback, meaningful feedback, what was it I said wrong, did wrong, could have done better, should go away and develop. It varies across forces, and I hear those kind of allegations or those kind of findings quite often, that it varies, and some people don't get feedback. If they do, it's not worth the paper it's written on or the email it comes on. Sometimes it's personal, but people walk away more confused than when they went in. So giving feedback is something that should be part of a meaningful, effective and supportive promotion process, so that people can come back to it with a growth mindset, attack it again, and do it more intelligently, better, smarter, and with the benefit of feedback that's been given with good intent. Okay, so I was really in the dark about where to go until I came across your products, and they've certainly shed a light on what I now need to look at and focus on. Thank you for the support you're providing through your products, and I look forward to my journey now. So the point about this really is that, you know, it's Australia, and it's the second purchase. I think geographically they're too far apart to have spoken, but who knows. But wouldn't that be nice? But the point here is around the transferable aspects. So clearly this individual has recognized the transferable aspects. And what do we mean by that? Well, there's lots and lots of different things, different frameworks, and clearly I don't know what framework they work on in this particular force in Australia, but there's always a framework, there's always an assessment process. So once you become aligned to that, once you do some work to become familiar with it, it's easier to navigate the process. So you know, I think that individual there has recognized the transferable elements of, you know, integrity, fairness, honesty, respect, all the things that cut through in terms of policing principles and values. And a lot of the exercises, or a lot of the examples, or the evidence examples, and a lot of the aspects of the roles will be very similar. So for instance, a lot of people over here don't think that the inspector and chief inspector role is the same. It is. Now, HR will give you lots of different descriptions around how it varies. It does, but essentially inspecting roles are very, very, very similar, you know, peas in a pod kind of thing. So if anything, there's more strategic kind of emphasis and focus on the chief inspector's role. And again, you can download a toolkit if you want to know what I'm talking about with that. But clearly the transferable aspects transfer geographically around the world, because there are aspects and elements of leadership. And so all these aspects of ethics and leadership, transformational leadership is a style of leadership that cops absolutely like, and I've seen that in reports around policing in Australia and comparative policing studies. So, you know, wherever you are, if you happen to be listening to this, or if I tell some of these I turn into a podcast, if you're listening to this on a podcast, head on over to ranksuccess.co.uk, have a look at the site, have a look at the free blogs, have a look at the free podcasts, have a listen to them, and you'll find a whole load of free support there for you to help support your decision, if you wish to make it, to go a little bit further and to download a digital toolkit relevant to the rank you're going for and smash your promotion process, as lots of my successful candidates do and are kind enough to let me know. Okay, so I was just really pleased to receive that, because you know, what I'm doing is working not only in the UK for officers who are going through selection processes, but clearly it's relevant and topical and meaningful support for officers on the other side of the world. So I will be back with another video in due course, and until then, take care and stay safe.